First question.
All right.
What are you hiding from the world?
Ooh.
Hebrew Israelites and Moors and others. I'm just giving you game the elder gave me. I know some of y'all don't like me because I'm swaggy and I'm rich, and I do this shit in real life, but get past your dislike for me real quick.
Wow.
Free notice about what the questions we're going to ask. But
when you know, you know. In real life.
Bastard test with flying colors. So in the next segment, we're going to go into the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. We're going to explain that in detail and talk about everything else that you have.
The historic Tulsa Real Estate Fund. Let's be clear.
Facts. So you have the real estate crowd fund, right? So it's a little different. It's a different way to invest in real estate as opposed to just a person just doing it on their own, right? So what is a real estate crowd fund? Like what's the details of that?
Well, our particular fund, the opportunity is for non-accredited investors, meaning those who have a net worth less than $1 million or make less than $250,000 a year, for non-accredited investors or accredited investors and institutions, family offices, and all kinds of capital partners can all invest in one vehicle. Our non-accredited investors and just all investors, our minimum investment is $500, and you will be an equity owner in our company and own shares of our entire portfolio, which currently consists of an Opportunity Zone property in East Point, Georgia, 5 minutes from the airport, called the Legacy Center, 2.6 acre campus, over 30,000 square feet, which would be a co-working space, a financial empowerment center, and training center.
Hey guys, I want to give you a chance to own a piece of Legacy. That's right, that building right there, you can own for as little as $500. You can own a piece of this flag too. And you can own a piece of this tree. You can own a piece of the gazebo. You can own this brick over here as well. Shoot, you can own your own window. Own a piece of the fence. And you can own a piece of our big 2.6 acre campus. You can even own our trash. Own our doors. Own a piece of the stairwell.
And so the Tulsa Fund has been around for a little over a year, a little over a year now, right? Mm-hmm. And so you guys got off to a historic start, and then, but you had some issues that you beat with the feds, right? And we spoke about some issues with the feds. Shout out to my brother Chris Gotti. That's our guy from Murder Inc. And he told us about their issues with the feds, how they beat the feds. So the reason why I bring this up is that we have to be, we have to tell the full story. A lot of times when stories are told, it's like, I knew it. But then it's like if you get exonerated, that part never really gets told, right? Right. So can you talk about that a little bit as far as like the investigation? Or I don't even know what to call. I don't want to call it investigation, but whatever.
We call it probe, investigation, subpoena, right? So we were subpoenaed by the FBI, the DOJ, FBI, and the SEC. I don't have an exact reason why. My instinct is that all the Negroes that thought this was a scam. Mm-hmm. Why? I don't know, but they thought this was a scam or a Ponzi scheme and kicked up fussing and making YouTube pages and Facebook pages and really bashing this historic fund that's for our community. I believe, that and other activity by people that are making like fake pages on Instagram and trying to do PayPal, Tulsa scams and all that. I think that, likely put us on folks' radar. Obviously, I'm not the most conventional fund manager. With my background as well.
Dr. Boyce Watkins.
What's happening, black people? I am super excited to be here in Zamunda, Wakanda. There you go, the real Wakanda. This was not built by Disney. This was built by black people. This is a special time. This is history, and this is our opportunity to do all the things that we're going to brag about when we're all old and gray and gathering in this same spot 40 years from now. Remembering back when we were young and fly and sharp and everything else, and we're going to be like, see all these billions that's out here, young people, we built all of this. We did all of this, and it started back in 2018, back a long time ago. I remember when I first met Jay, and I remember talking to him when I was in the car. And, someone had mentioned, there's a guy named Jay Morrison, and he'd like to chop it up with you. And I said, okay, sure, let's talk. And from the very minute that we started talking, I could tell that his energy was very good energy. You know, he was a guy that seemed more interested in building bridges than in comparing, you know, the size of what I got versus what you got. You know, it wasn't none of that. It was more like, okay, King. You know, he called me King. I love that. I had the same feeling I had when I first heard about people like Barack Obama and others who have done extraordinary things in the community, except I think what Jay's doing is actually equally, if not more significant than what any politician has ever done, because he puts black people first all the time, no matter what.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
So when he told me about the fund, I just, you know, started asking questions. And, you know, and my questions aren't easy questions. You know, my PhD is in finance. I asked some pretty detailed questions, some pretty tough questions. Jay answered them all. Boom, boom, boom. SEC approval. Boom, boom. Oh, we're going to set it up this way and do this and this. And I was listening, and my instinct said, okay, he's really thought this through. He's really laid this out. This is going to be nice. This infrastructure is solid. And I immediately gained faith in what Jay was doing. You know, I said, okay, you know what? I'll back you. Let me know what I can do. Let me know how I can help. And I was one of the initial investors. I stepped right up and wrote my check and sent it in, and I said, I'm in this. And we talked about it, and I supported. People asked me about it, and I always, whenever they ask me about it, I always tell them the same thing. I do believe in the Tulsa Fund, because here's the interesting thing. You know, I hear everything, right? I hear, you know, those who are enthusiastic, and then I hear those who are highly skeptical. And I understand the skepticism, right? You know, we have people that do things they shouldn't be doing, but I find it fascinating, though, that we can be 10 times more skeptical when it comes to each other than we are when it comes to investing with these other people out here that you know don't care nothing about you. When I think about why I invested in this fund, that question coming to me would actually get another question in return, which is, you know, why not invest your money with this fund? Why not?
All the Tulsa Real Estate Fund investors, the Black House is officially for sale. It is listed on this Instagram page as of today, and we know that the road has finally come to an end. The $11.7 million that Jay Morrison raised is now almost all gone. Recently, he said he was liquidating the fund, and so we knew that this would be the next step. He's already refinanced this building, took out $1.5 million to cover his management fees and excessive losses in terms of operations on the Black House, and now the fund is about to be bankrupt. I just wanted to give you this update as the lead investor who lost $40,000 in this deal myself. I'm going to be doing a YouTube live at 8 p.m. tonight to go into further detail on this, but we are now at the end of the road and the fund is almost bankrupt. So share this with anybody you know who invested in the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, and I'll go into more detail at 8 p.m.
Instantly, people were saying it was fraudulent from the moment that it was created. I thought that was unfair because I don't really think that they even, some people didn't give the brother a chance. Some people were just like, it's fraudulent from the beginning. These are people that didn't invest, didn't support. They hate everything. They called everybody a scammer. I don't think those opinions matter as much. However, there was also a management fee for about $600,000 in there that also concerned me. And I was sort of like, look, man, if you're taking fees like this, there has to be some performance. You know, there's only so much I would say. I'm going to be fair and honest no matter what. And he says that he needs more time and more money.
In regards to the other investments, has he showed you documentation showing that the money is invested in other properties outside of the Black House?
You know, no, because
I
didn't ask for all that.
But why didn't you ask for that?
Because I like taking chances on black people and supporting them without being up their ass. Like I just don't do that. I don't.
So if you invested something in me, right?
Yeah.
Or you invested something with me, you gave me $50,000. You wouldn't check up to say, hey, bro, can I just see any paperwork or anything of what you're doing, or you just take my word?
I would if it was a major investment for me.
Yeah. Did you think because you supported the project, you didn't think it was your responsibility to look in it on behalf of the people and let them know? Or is it because of the friendship?
No, because I do not give investing advice on my channel.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you jump to want to invest in this fund?
I do not. I specifically repeat this 10 billion times to people. This is not investing advice.
Why wouldn't you jump to want to invest in this fund?
If you trust what I say and believe that my investments are good, and I've had some success with that, then I will tell you what I'm doing. But I do not give investing advice.
Why wouldn't you jump to want to invest in this fund?
I tell people, do your own due diligence. Do not just sort of assume that, don't say I did it because Boyce told me to do it. No.
Why wouldn't you jump to want to invest in this fund?
I invest in a lot of things that don't succeed. I invest in a lot of things that don't succeed.
Do you feel that Jay Morrison is qualified to run a fund? In retrospect now, not initially.
I'm going to say that it looks to me like he probably made some mistakes. Is he qualified to run a fund? I will say that I get the impression he knows a lot about real estate. Would I invest in that fund? I probably would not.
Why wouldn't you want to participate? This fund, I think, Jay, you're up to 15 million now? 12 million, 12 and some change, right? Well, you know, I kind of believe that 12 million should be 120 million. And that 120 million should eventually become 1.2 billion.
I do not, I specifically repeat this 10 billion times to people. This is not investing advice.
You know, I've done videos on quite a few people on this channel, and every video has been met with some amount of vitriol and anger from all of the people who are usually too stupid to form complete and coherent thoughts on their own. And I've come to understand that when you speak to the dumb sheep members of someone else's flock, that going against the shepherd means that you also go against the entire herd, even if what you're doing is trying to show these morons the error of their ways. You get called a hater, which has become the quintessential go-to, the most unoriginal and overused title that these special crackheads will throw at you anytime you go on an expose, right? Anytime you have criticism for one of these guys, their idiot fans will go out of their way to protect their image. And I blame hip-hop for a lot of it, because hip-hop is the only place in the world where being a felon, a thief, a criminal, and a con artist gets pedestalized and praised. Scams and criminal culture in hip-hop is like being inducted into a special gang where the more terrible shit that you've done in your life, the more respect and legitimacy you obtain from all the people in the black community. And somehow, that culture and mindset has taken root in the black finance community as well, in the form of fake gurus, phony entrepreneurs, and penitentiary preachers. Before we continue, I'm going to throw out a list of names, okay? And you tell me if you can spot the one common link amongst them. Tulsa Real Estate Fund, Earn Your Leisure, 19 Keys, Derek Grace, Social Proof Podcast, Dr. Boyce Watkins, The Breakfast Club. The one common denominator that all of these people at platforms once represented, the snake oil salesman and Holy Ghost rolling Jay Morrison. This is the one common denominator. Here I want to do something. I want to establish a safeguard for the black community, since there seems to be so many of you niggas that are slow, as Eli would say. Anytime a Negro, man or woman, comes forth promising you Wakanda, just automatically assume they're trying to take you to the bank. Let me say it again. Anytime a former criminal with felonies attached to their bio that hasn't done anything legitimately of note or mention, just assume they are scamming you. Derek, crooks and criminals come in all shapes and sizes and colors. Why are you focusing on the black community with this? Well, because the black community was the selling point of Jay Morrison.
My brother.
Yeah.
Y'all see who it is.
I'm just letting y'all know that I'm in full support of this movement. A lot of y'all talking that black excellence and it's like it's time. I'm in support.
We gonna Voltron up or what? We gonna Voltron up or what?
Man. Voltron, they all get together, and that's when magic happens.
That's the collective.
Yeah.
Black Excellence.
All
Tulsa
the
Real
way,
Estate
man.
Fund, IPO June 1st. This ain't no just Instagram thing. This brother's really linking up.
Fall in.
Fall in line. One love.
Just as it is a lot of these other niggas that turn on the camera and play in your face. This fantastic fantasy that we all have. The fantastic fantasy that he sold his brothers and sisters came on the back of the black dollar, where he was able to play off of the emotional trauma and controversy of black history. That's facts. The real estate he purchased and then named it the Black House, for God's sakes. I told y'all in my Wall Street Trapper video, we have a savior ideology complex problem where we look for somebody that looks like us to put on a cape and save all the Negroes. Jay Morrison told the entire black community back in 2020 that in 5 years his goal was to take over and have over a $1 billion portfolio in asset management. And here we are at 4 years, and this clown hasn't even produced one lucrative investment, let alone $1 billion. How about the fund doesn't even have barely 1 million left to his name? Boyce said some people didn't even give the Tulsa Real Estate Fund a shot, a fair chance. Negro, he had 11.7 million chances. The real problem with the black finance community seems to be that any nigga that wants to get rich, all they need to do is grab a camera, grab a mic, and proceed to promise the black community that they're building Wakanda somewhere. Because niggas love Wakanda, apparently. But unfortunately, I have some very, very uncomfortable news for you slow-ass Negroes. Wakanda is not real. It is a fictional place. It doesn't actually exist. And these Negroes are no closer to delivering you Wakanda than Earth is to the goddamn moon. In other words, for those of you who are a little slow on the uptake, Jay Morrison's Black Wall Street is not happening. Just like the Earth is to the moon, all he's going to do is keep circling around the existence of it, but can never actually close the gap because he's a goddamn liar and a thief who never had any clue as to what the hell he was doing in real estate, let alone managing $11.7 million. You all have been hoodwinked. You've been bamboozled. You've been led astray. And let me fan some of these flames in another direction before I go too far in. Because naturally, everybody is dogpiling on Jay Morrison, and rightfully so. But Dr. PhD in finance Boyce Watkins himself deserves a hefty amount of this smoke. Boyce sat up there and said, Jay Morrison told him over the phone that he still believes in the fund. He just needs a little more time and donations. Excuse me. Mr. PhD in finance, he had 5 years and nearly $12 million to buy some goddamn real estate anywhere he wanted to. The same man that bragged to YouTube and social media about his real estate success and all of the deals that he'd brokered over the years. He said he was a millionaire by age 28 from his knowledge in the real estate game. And you mean to tell me someone who was a real estate guru and mogul in the making at age 28 was handed $12 million during a bull run in the market, and this fool lost nearly all of it, brokering no deals of value? While the investors of the Tulsa Real Estate Fund were busy thinking that their money was accruing dividends and an 8% return on their investment, it was really being used to buy Deacon J. Morrison and his wife and family a brand new home.
This is ridiculous. You buy the home with Tulsa Real Estate Fund money, but the deed is in the name of an LLC that only you are on. Then you transfer it to an LLC that you can't trace. Okay. Then you transfer it to your own name for $80. All right, okay. It's not over. I want you to see, this is the most recent filing with the SEC for Tulsa Real Estate Fund. This is the most recent filing. And once again, on page 29, any of y'all taking notes, on page 29, it clearly states that this property was bought using the fund's money, right? Remember, there's two properties here. There's an empty lot, about 5 acres. Then there's a lot that's 27 acres-ish with this home on it. It was purchased, underlined, and the company invested approximately $960,000. That's what it says. Okay. So if the property that has the house, the one that was $850,000 or whatever, that's in your name, right? If that's in your name, what about the empty lot? Is the empty lot also in his name? Let's take a look. All right, let's take a look. So it says here that 3878 D. Money Road, which is the empty lot, that is actually owned by the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. So the empty lot, that's 5 acres, it's okay to have that in the name of the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, but that was only $150,000. The lot that has like 27 acres, the lot that has 27 acres with the home that was $850,000, that one's in your personal name.
See, he didn't completely lie to y'all. He did use some of that $12 million to buy more real estate. It just so happens that the real estate he bought also happens to be where he lays his head at night. Dr. Boyce Watkins, PhD in finance, said, "I invest in a lot of things that don't succeed." Mr. Flashcard himself threw $10,000 into a project that he had done no research on, led by a con artist who had no business managing anybody's assets in anybody's fund. And in his response to black investors losing millions of dollars afterward, his response, Dr. Boyce Watkins' response was, "Oh well, I never told them to invest. They should have done their due diligence." This is the guy that cares so much about black empowerment and the black dollar. Boyce don't even have the balls to man up about his own money being stolen right in front of his very eyes, right in front of his face. What makes y'all think he give a damn about what happens to your money? Boyce has done absolutely nothing but make excuses for this man. You want to know how I knew that Jay Morrison was full of an immense amount of bullshit from the start? Because when asked about investors and who was allowed to invest in this fund, this man said, "Oh, this is for anybody to invest in. Asians, people from the Caucasus Mountains, Germans, hell, you can be half orc from Lord of the Rings and you can invest in this fund if you want to." That let me know immediately this Negro does not give a damn about anything but how much money he's able to collect. All of that for us, by us bullshit that he was bringing y'all, the Black House after school special bullshit that he was running game with on the black community, was just a facade. And these people that use Negro spirituals and grandiose ideas of togetherness for the sake of getting black people to part ways with their money are some of the most dangerous and egregious people morally that you will ever meet. They are morally bankrupt individuals, and you will never encounter anybody worse. Do not forget that we are talking about a man who admitted to selling crack to his own father.
My father left me when I was 3 months old. At 3 months, he moved from New Jersey to Nebraska, across the country. Didn't see him again until I didn't even know at 3 months, obviously. My first time consciously seeing him was at 7 years old. He was for a week in New Jersey, came and visited. Oh, that's your father right there. I'm like, oh, word? I remember he bought me an orange Sunkiss from the ice cream truck. That was like, oh, snap. It's my dad. He said, yeah, I'm gonna come back. Didn't see him again till I was 9. He came for another week. He promised we would go fishing. I'm waiting at school. My dad comes today, we're going fishing. He never showed up. One of them stories. He never came. I didn't see this is my biological father. He looked just like me. I look like him, I guess. I didn't see him again till I was 17. And I was selling crack in Somerville, New Jersey. And one of my customers called me and said, oh, your dad in town. I said, that's cool. She said, you got something? I said, yeah. I said, what's up? He said, we want something. I told him we got the best stuff in town. So from 9 years old to 17 years old, I didn't see my father. My first time seeing my father was me selling him crack.
And he told you all this in the supposed spirit of transparency. But what I saw was something else in that confession. I saw a man whose greed and arrogance was so overwhelmingly unbalanced in his life that in his heart of hearts, at his core, he's willing to sacrifice anybody for his own selfish desires and personal gain. But Derek, you're not perfect. You've done things you're not proud of in your life. Yes, this is true. But what I could never do is look at my father, who I know has an addiction, and proceed to sell him more poison, all because I want to make $1. Hey, I watch basketball. And do you know what people say about Jordan and Kobe Bryant? They said that they had that dog in them, that it was just born within. Some people just got that thing in them that makes them tick, that dog, right? Well, it's the same way with this. Some people just have ill intent in them. Some people are just cruel by nature. Save that reborn bullshit for your church performance at Sunday service. Some people just have that snake in them. Jay Morrison collected $12 million for a real estate fund that was supposed to lead the next generation of black people into a position of financial freedom and abundance. And instead, what he did, he went and bought a mansion for his family, paid himself hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars in management fees, and promoted himself as a black leader in finance and real estate. If he were working for any corporate entity and this happened, he would be fired immediately and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Hey, sometimes you got to take the broken down, beat up looking raggedy ass Buick at face value. I don't care how much the dealer told you that it was a reliable mode of transportation. Sometimes you got to look something in the face and realize and recognize it for what it is. And Boyce, the difference between investing in McDonald's and the Tulsa Real Estate Fund is that over the course of the last 5 years, McDonald's has done nothing but return their investors profit and increase dividends. Stop comparing the two. They are not the same. Hell, Jay Morrison would have been better off investing all of those millions of dollars into McDonald's stock versus what he actually did with it. At least he would have had some type of return, great returns actually, and he would have made some dividends on that investment. $80 is what he tried to disguise the sale of a $700,000 property to himself, from himself for. Boyce, that is not a mistake. That's a clear indication of fraud. Boyce's PhD in finance is negated by his dropout status in niggonomics and scam culture, because he's clearly clueless. If you want $10,000 from Boyce, apparently all you have to do, listen to me, all you have to do is have good energy and call him king. Boyce and Jay Morrison always think they're the smartest people in the room. which has proved to be a natural disaster in the black community because, unfortunately, neither of them apparently know what the fuck they're doing. And instead of owning that as men of honor and value, they've pawned their failures as black leaders off on the ignorance of the black community and the white man. Right, Boyce? That's Boyce's fallback always, the white man. Boyce, how many more failures and scams are you going to justify by, but look what the white man doing. Look what the white man do to y'all. How many more times you gonna fall back on that sword? Boyce, that can't be your justification for $12 million being taken from the black community, and you claim you love the community you claim you love. These two tricks deserve one another, I promise you. Two goofy idiots failing at business together, losing the people's money, and just throwing their hands up afterwards. And now Deacon Jay Morrison has returned he's turned to one of the other greatest culture scams in the black community, the For Acceptance and Vindication, the black church. Because when all else fails, and you're being held accountable for your lies, all the snake oil sales that you've made, and the black exploitation of your people, running to the church and reciting prayers and Negro spirituals will make people forget that you're actually a lying, scamming, shameless idiot who masquerades during the day as a black savior and builder of Wakanda. Thanks for watching.
I was at a restaurant and his potential partner I have, we're gonna do a networking event at this place called Stanley's on the south side of Atlanta. And she was like, man, I say your name. Some people are like, wow, you know Jay Morrison? And some people are like, I don't know about Jay Morrison. I was like, yeah, I'm a polarizing figure. She said, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm a polarizing figure. I'm really him.
What?
Hell no. To the no, no, no. Yeah, to the no.
Everybody play their hand. When the grass is cut, the snakes will show. What did the African philosopher Jay-Z say? When the grass is cut, the snakes will show. I gotta thank my little homie Nas for that though. To save me all the hassle of dealing with all these assholes. You can let karma catch up to Jazzo. Oh. Bro, it's like exactly what it is.
What the fuck are you talking about?
My team has asked, and they're on board, and so once I let my babies in,
It's a wrap.
it's a wrap. So
That's the
I'll be
legacy.
watching it. We've talked, we've vetted, I've listened, I've learned. It's the real deal. It's the real deal. So
Absolutely.
my question is, why not?
That's the question you gotta ask yourself. Why not? Why
not?
wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't I?
Not
Yeah.
why should you? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Hey everyone, it's Julian Gordon again. I just want to say thank you for everybody who helped on social media to attract and galvanize as many investors as possible. We've been able to apply a lot of pressure to the Tulsa Real Estate Fund and even to the SEC to get the ball rolling, and we did get a response, and so I just want to say thank you. I'm not going to be on video in large right now because I want to be clear that this is not a personal thing between Jay Morrison and I. I just happen to be representing the investors to the best of my ability at this moment in time. Against the fund, unfortunately. And so I will actually be reading from this speech, and you will all have access to this transcript afterwards. Dear fellow Tulsa Real Estate Fund investors, my name is Julian Gordon, and I'm the lead investor in the Tulsa Real Estate Fund at $40,000 invested. For context, if you missed my speech from last week, you can find it at this YouTube link. And again, I'll provide this with you for you all. Jay Morrison has responded to my speech on Instagram and via email, denying all claims, and he has invited us to Tref Talks Live at the Black House on Tuesday, September 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today's speech will be different as I will be using screen sharing and visuals to show evidence of what I was talking about last week. I'll be showing evidence of what I think is classified as fraud or gross mismanagement of funds. This full speech transcript with clickable links will be available at TulsaRealEstateFraud.com, TulsaRealEstateFraud.com, so that you can conduct the research for yourself. Do not just believe me, go conduct the research for yourself. In short, I'm here to let you know that the Tulsa Real Estate Fund is almost bankrupt and there is potential fraud. Again, potential fraud. As of June 30th, 2022, the fund only had $1.48 million in cash from the original $11 million. The 11 million is only worth $3.2 million now, and that's a loss of 70% or $7.8 million over the last 5 years. And so just to show you those numbers, I'm going to teach you how to read through the SEC filings right now. So this 1.48 in cash, you'll find that on the balance sheet, and that's cash and cash equivalents right here. The 3.2 million that our shares are now worth is down here. Okay, total members capital. So you're starting to learn how to read these SEC documents for yourself. From June 30th, 2021 to 2022, it took another $1 million loss. So in that year, the fund took another $1 million loss, and you will find that right here. June 30th, 2021 to June 30th, 2022, it took another $1 million loss, okay? So that's about $1 million loss per year. So given that we are in August of 2023, over a year after June 2022, the fund likely has less than $500,000 left in cash, and the fund only has acquired $4.29 million worth of actual real estate. A real estate fund has only acquired $4.29 million in real estate assets, which only represents 39% of our original investment. So where do we find that number? We find that number right here. Total real estate assets, okay? So moving forward, only 39% has gone to actual real estate, okay? So moving forward, and all the visuals will be here. So investors beware, investors beware, investors beware. Jay Morrison will continue to say that the SEC, Security and Exchange Commission, and DOJ, the Department of Justice, investigated the fund in its first 6 months and had no findings. And that is true. But there was not much to find in the first 6 months. The things that I'm talking about occurred after the initial investigation, okay? So don't let his smooth talking fool you and you believe that, oh, just because they found no findings early, that proceeds forth into the 4 years that have transpired since then, okay? So be very careful. He has a way with words.
I can only judge by your heart what your mouth say. With a grain of salt, I'ma take it for your mouth's sake. Niggas follow greed, ain't no seeds being planted. Cause people never learn till they feeding the planet. Sleeping 6 feet, death is creeping at your doorstep. This feast is far from over, have a seat, don't you toast yet. I got some shit to learn, you grab your keys, cock your burners. This life is so cold, cop your please.